everybody.
Okay, good
Welcome to
morning.
1 Million Cuts, Virginia Beach, where we provide pitch practice for entrepreneurs, or we call it Shark Tank without the bite. Is anybody here for the first time? Because we like to keep you on our list to let you know that who's coming up next, so we can help each other out on a weekly basis. Are there any announcements for things going on this week or next week?
There's an Unwind event on Thursday.
Right.
It's Kevin's place.
Which is somewhere, Chesapeake?
Digital Red.
Where is that?
Chesapeake?
Behind the Lowe's in Chesapeake on Battlefield. Back
Check
there.
it. Should it be listed on StartReel.org?
I have no idea.
It probably is.
Let's go for StartReel.org to get the address for that. Unwind, W-I-N-E-D. So that's I think it's a monthly.
They're co-doing it with
It's at
Dan
600
Bell's
Independence
HRIC Critical Mass. So
Oh,
they're
great.
having both of them.
Where's
So
it?
like 4:30, right?
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock at
660 Independence Parkway.
Independence
The room,
Parkway,
Office 310
behind Lowe's.
in
So-
Chesapeake.
Chesapeake. All right, be there tomorrow night, right? Tomorrow night.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Okay, so here we are to provide this opportunity for Scott McJunkin to talk about Achievely, right? We got that right. And we'll give you 6 minutes to give your pitch, and then I'll give you 1 minute warning.
Oh,
Just
okay.
let you know how that's going. So take it away.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Scott McJunkin. I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to talk to you about Achievely. This is something that I've been working on for a few years now. Had the idea back in 2009. And that was right when the recession started to get really underway. And I got to see firsthand, just through networking and being around people, I got to see firsthand how beneficial things like coaching, mentoring, leadership development can have on a company. But I also found that it was elitist in a way. It's not accessible to most everybody. And so that's where I came up with the idea of Achievely. And what it is, essentially, it is an employee benefit that's going to change businesses and lives. But let's go ahead and define it a little bit, because it's a new word, right? It is a leadership achievement services that helps businesses attract the best, retain the best, and get the best out of the best. And it is founded on the core belief that everybody should have access to the people, resources, and feedback they need to live their lives at the highest level. That is essential to everything that this entire platform does. And to kind of put it in a more simplistic context of what this business is, I have a visual here. And you could think of it as a bridge between what companies think about their employees and what employees think about companies. Companies think employees should exist to support the company's goals, and employees are starting to think companies exist to help them achieve their life plan. And right in the middle is us, Achievely, bridging the gap between those two and helping them achieve both their goals. And we are in the industry of leadership development. And currently, leadership development within organizations is a $50 billion industry. And that, by all the data that's out there, by all accounts, we can expect that to increase, at least up until 2021. And then, even though there's $50 billion put in this industry, still 85% of executives are not confident in their leadership pipeline. And on top of that, 51% of managers are disengaged from their job, and an additional 14% are actively disengaged, which means they're working against the company. These aren't just employees, these are managers. Can you imagine how much money is being lost because of this lack of engagement? So all of this kind of summed up really gets us to these 4 problems. Attraction, companies are having trouble attracting the best as the unemployment rate continues to go down low. There's a war for talent going on. Retention, employees are leaving companies and switching careers at a faster rate. Leadership development continues to be a problem. And engagement, we just saw, employees are not as engaged. And so, if you combine all of these problems together, that is the problem that animates everything that Achievely does. So what does Achievely do? Achievely gives access. Achievely gives leaders, managers, employees access to coaches, courses, and experiences. And we do that by streamlining what is the coaching or mentorship process to a very specific deliverable. And on top of the main thing that we and our competitors sell is the coaching model, which works like this. An employee gets signed up for our service, they get paired with the coach, and they both work from a shared goal dashboard. And through that, they're able to track and measure and quantify their ability to succeed and achieve their own personal goals while they're with the company, while they're getting that employee benefit. And the price point that's set out there in the market is $199 per month. That is what's being sold out there right now. And that includes 2 30-minute coaching sessions a month, an interactive personalized goal dashboard, a top-tier online courses, and exclusive events and experiences for members only. And currently where we are, so all that together, companies can tell employees that are going to come work for them, they can say, you know what, you get health insurance and all those employee benefits, but we're going to give you success as an employee benefit. We're going to set you up for success. We know you're going to leave. We know that this is like a temporary thing, but you come work for me, I will make sure that you achieve what you want to, if you give me your best. And then what that gives the company is a culture of achievement. And it helps fix those problems of attraction, retention, leadership development, and engagement. And with this idea, where we are right now, we have spent 1 year in development, specifically for this. We have 2 MVBs created. We have 3 companies already signed up for the LMS, the Learning Management System. We spent 4 months in the ODU Accelerator, and we have 5 courses with multiple lessons already already being used right now. And so where we are going is that we are continuing to validate the market, and we are keeping a close eye on the competitors, because this industry is being created right now, and it's brand new. We are refining our business model and our minimal viable product, and also we are seeking funding so that we can ramp up and start competing with those that are already gobbling up customers and coaches. So that is the end of my presentation. I have a lot of information. I can talk about anything. I'm going to open it up, but I just have to let y'all know I really need to go at 9:45. I have a meeting that came up and I have to be somewhere at 10, so sorry. But yes.
That's good.
Good presentation.
Very good.
Thank
You
you.
hit the right, you put the problem up front and you showed us how you solve it, and we don't see that often. So good job.
Thank you.
What is your competition? You know, who else is doing what you're doing?
Okay, there are 3 companies. Our competition, we're kind of in the middle. We're more towards the corporate side, but we are competing against individual. One-on-one. It involves one-on-one communication. It involves no one-on-one. And so you have things like Coach.me and therapist type of services, and you just text the therapist. And then over here you have habit trackers and books. That's the individual one. I would say our biggest competitors are Everwise and BetterUp. Sage is out in New York. They just got started, I think last year they got funding. But they have a business model that I don't really want to do, which is employ coaches. I don't see how they're going to make a whole lot of money doing that. Everwise, they've been around since 2012. So Everwise, they've been around since 2012. They're currently, and in 2016, they started getting funding. And right now, they're currently getting $24 million in AV round funding. And then BetterUp on the other side was founded in 2016. They're in Series A rounds, so they have $13 million in funding. Everwise has the most corporate customers that I can see: Apple, Nissan, Sony Music. You know, just huge companies are already buying into Everwise and BetterUp. So that's our customer. Those are our competitors. Yes.
So when you say $200 a month, is that per employee, or what does that mean?
It's per employee per month.
And that goes on for how long? What's a period of time? Do you want to get people when they start, or do you jump into the middle? What is it?
Like start in the organization?
Right.
I would prefer to be an employee benefit that's available to everybody. But I think the best use case would be to attract talent. You say, hey, even though we may not pay as much, we still have this tool. And over the course of a year, what is that, $2,400 extra? They may be willing to go with that company. But regardless of where they are, this is a tool that helps the company demonstrate that they actually care about their employees. And it's not an HR mandated thing, which we all know, you know, those 360 reviews are really tied to my salary, so I'm not gonna be really honest with it. Did I answer your question?
So, yes, and then, so how do you quantify these results? You know, if you wanted to sell that to me and I've never heard of these before, then how do I know that there's a benefit?
Well, the research, right now we could only go based off of research, and there is some research based on the benefit coaches have on people, like mentors and stuff, but those are, again, elitist, and we're trying to bring it down. So as we go along, we're gonna have our own data that we're going to accumulate based on position and stuff like that, but already, Everwise and BetterUp, they are marketing and teaching the market kind of for me, and what I can see is, but they don't have a dashboard like I have. So we're able to track and measure their goals and quantify and weight people's achievement progress. And also once a month, those employees' manager, because I can assume like a group of employees have a manager, will get a report from the coach once a month without breaking confidentiality, but it could give tips to the manager like, hey, I can tell that maybe this month you might want to work on communication, or, you know, be a little bit more empathetic. And so it could really help multiple layers of an organization. That's how I'm thinking.
So is the goal for you in an organization to offer this forever to an employee, or is it for the first year to onboard people?
I think I would like everybody forever, but I'm thinking a standard subscription, they would have to commit to at least 3 months. I'm really thinking 6 months terms. And if they go even further, we can bring down the price down. We can bring the price down, but they're locked in for a set amount. But they can't just, I mean, we could give a free trial, but I think to see results, you're gonna have to commit to a 3-month or 6-month process. That's the best I can answer that.
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay. Yes.
Why do companies pay you for doing something that they should be doing themselves? And they're simply increasing their overhead rate, but to hire you. And why should they hire you for doing something that they should be doing themselves? I mean, I don't see what value you can add in addition to what their managers are supposed to be doing already.
Okay, that's a great question. Achievely is an outside service. And an outside confidant that's going to either mentor or guide an employee to greater forms of achievement. This person will touch on professional life, but will also focus on, are you going to achieve things in your own life? And what we're trying to do is create a culture within an organization of achievement. And I believe to actually do that, you need honest communication. And you can't do that with a manager who, if you discuss an insecurity that you have, or that you want to have your manager's job, you know, that kind of communication won't be 100% honest. On the other hand, we are looking for companies, specifically companies that have tried the internal mentorship model. And several things happen to make that breakdown. Number one, everybody gets excited at first, right? But the people who are mentoring or coaching other employees, they don't know how to do it right. And they aren't consistent, and there's always that tension of, this is a colleague of mine. So what we're doing is we're giving a process, a system, a measurable way for that communication to happen, that achievement to happen, but we're also a third party that's unbiased. And then the company doesn't have to worry, or that executive or director doesn't have to worry, okay, what's my mentee doing? You know, they can go work on their job.
And then how do you measure the results? I mean, does the employee that you help, are you psychologically more healthy, or are they?
Well, we're able to measure engagement within the organization. We're able to measure engagement on the job
You
work.
can measure engagement
Yes.
before and after your service?
I have a way that I think will work once this gets off the ground, but yes. But you could also use more traditional methods, such as interviewing the employee, what's their satisfaction? Because you also want to make sure that they're going to stay. Are you more likely to stay if you would use our service? But tracking, we'd be able to track their goals and see if they're increasing and improving in
Well, you can
certain
do that
areas.
without your help. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
But they can track their own goals.
Yep, and the presence of habit trackers and planners and online to-do lists, those are actually working in our favor because more people are very comfortable tracking themselves in that way. And I believe that the more that we get disconnected with social media, people are going to want to talk to another person, seek mentorship, seek that motivation. How do I overcome this problem? And they're going to benefit from that one-on-one communication.
I can count my own steps, but a Fitbit makes it easier.
Hmm?
I can count my own steps all day, but a Fitbit makes it a lot easier.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
companies are outsourcing things that are not core competencies or that they're not good at, and that's why companies are, you saw the companies that are hiring these other organizations. I mean, people know they need help, and why do they outsource HR? They can do that themselves. Why do they outsource business
they're willing to
development?
increase
Companies
their-
outsource all kinds of things.
And they're willing to increase their overhead rate and their prices, I mean, and, you know, to achieve something that they should be doing themselves but are unable to do.
Well,
Is
not
that-
necessarily should be doing themselves, because if it's not their core competency, why would I focus on
Yeah.
this thing whenever I'm best at something else? Let somebody else do that they're best at.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get a
Yeah.
better result from it.
Yeah.
Where are the coaches coming from?
If it's worth it, it's a matter of cost.
Well, you can't.
Everything
You
is.
can't. You
I
can't.
know, it's hard to measure the benefit.
Yes. Like
It is, but
advertising.
also wellness programs are also hard to measure.
Yeah.
as
Half of it
well,
doesn't work.
And gym memberships.
The other half
And having a
does,
masseuse.
but how do you know which half is right?
There are a lot of fringe benefits. We're not looking for the small company who can't afford it, because $200 a month to keep a high talent employee is probably worth it in the long run. And I would, like, one of the plans is to look at companies who do spend on those fringe benefits, such as a gym membership. So that's how we're gonna, that's where we're going, and that's where I see Everwise and Better Up really making ground. The coaches, there are two ways we could do it. So Everwise, the way that they're doing is they're pairing mentors who are existing professionals in a certain industry that's in a non-competing industry, signing them up and saying, hey, would you like to be a mentor to this protege? And then Everwise does that. Better Up, which I like their model better, and I always thought this model would work, which is get ICF, International Coaching Federation, certified coaches to get on board with this. And they would be independent contractors. And these companies, they say they have 309, 306 employees. They actually have 15 employees, and the rest are the coaches. So we actually have a benchmark of how many coaches we actually
Well, I
need.
think that's your issue, is you have to get qualified coaches, because,
Mhm.
you know, the first time I call up, this guy's an idiot, I'm done. I mean,
Mhm.
I see that when I talk to a couple of people that are supposed to be business coaches, and I'm like, well, what the hell have you done?
Mhm.
You know, you couldn't get a job, so you became a business coach,
Mhm.
and you really haven't done anything. I think that's why they have so many employees, is because once you find a coach, you're trying to lock them into some sort of contract,
Yeah, I
because
could-
that's your sellable product.
Yes, and I mean, we've already laid out the process for vetting coaches, but it would be one that would require a certain level of experience, certain, references. We have to make sure any certifications, but also we interview them and train them on the Achievely way of doing things. Because a lot of coaching, mentorship is therapeutic in a way. We want to focus very much on goal, which is almost a type of therapy practice, goal-oriented coaching that doesn't really get into tell me about your childhood, that executives enjoy. But there is a way to qualify that, and also there will be a rating system after every call. Will you rate it? What would your rating be? And just like Uber, if it falls below a certain amount, they drop a tier in how much they get commission for. And also, based on their experience, we could offer cheaper level coaches.
Except
bring down the
if
price.
you're an executive, so I could see like a Dollar Tree using this for like their upper end executives or somebody like that,
Yeah.
because it would be a retention policy if it works,
Mhm.
but it's all about the quality of coaching you're getting, not,
Yes.
you know, and that, I think you're gonna have a hard time finding the right pool of coaches, because everybody's a little bit different. I mean, you know,
Yeah, and that's where the competitors that are both proving the market and competing, they're out in San Francisco and they have huge VC companies funding them, and so they already have a network that they're tapping into of people.
So are they doing that, no, let's interrupt, but are they doing that remotely, or are you looking for local people for face-to-face coaching?
No, I'm looking remotely. This will all be
All
virtual.
remote, okay.
So this will be a
Makes it a
complete
little
enclosed system. We want to capture all communication. Video call, it's going to happen. You know. there's
so what's a
messaging.
coach get paid?
When?
How much?
How much? They get paid an hourly rate. That's what the financial model is working out to.
Like how much?
I don't really want to say, but we do. There are certain tiers that we've already put out there, but we're gonna the hourly rate that we're gonna pay them is based on the actual work that they do. So no more traveling, no more prospecting, no more scheduling, no more all these other marketing, all these other things that take up the coach's time, which is why a coach charges $100 an hour at least for a client, is because they have an overhead cost already built in. We're taking that away. The coach doesn't have to do anything to get new clients. They just have to do a really good job. And so they could either do this as a full-time gig or have it as supplemental income at night. So, I mean, I think
Why
it's
don't
a
you
win for
poach
coaches.
these other guys as coaches? If they already have all these coaches and they're subcontractors, or did they have non-competes? Like you could poach all their coaches. I mean, because that's where your talent lies. Is if you don't get quality coaches, you're never going to make this work. I mean,
There's more than 600 quality coaches in the United States.
Yeah.
Because they're remote.
yeah, but at
I mean,
$50 an
they
hour,
look
you're
for
talking about
anything.
someone's making $100,000 a year. Are you going to get the quality coach you want at that run rate?
And that's what we're gonna find out.
So your new company is Coach Poachers.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
I like that.
Coach Poach.
Let me just second that.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm a U.S. government certified quality assurance manager.
Okay.
And basically, you're trying to reinvent the wheel. If you remember Lee Iacocca, he worked for Chrysler Company in the early 60s. He's one of their leaders, and he tried to start the quality assurance program with Lee Iacocca, with all the employees, with all the marketing, with all the building of the cars and everything, and Chrysler turned him down. He went to Japan and sold the program to Japan, turned their whole manufacturing industry completely around, where they started bringing quality-made materials back to the U.S. before they had a bad reputation of sending junk back to the U.S. So he turned Japan around, and about 15, 20 years later, he goes back to Chrysler, and by this time, Chrysler sees their fault. Your quality assurance starts with your HR department, so you should be teaching the HR people to teach their people to go into their industry, because those people know exactly more about what the industry is all about, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish. By you going in and teaching the individuals in the company, you don't have the background that the people in the HR department would have, so you'd be better in teaching the HR people to teach their people, because they already have an insight as to what that company's all about.
And perhaps that's a service that we could provide as well. Like we could come alongside you and teach you how to do this, give you the tools. I disagree with you in the sense that companies don't need technical workers as much, especially in the United States. Like Lee Iacocca, it was all operations and it was all continuous improvement. And those are what's called horizontal competency-based skills that can be taught, and that has been around since the Industrial Revolution. Things like how cross-training, how to negotiate, those things. The market is changing in such a way, like we have to look at what Generation Z is going to do, what millennials are doing, and since 2008, the loyalty is gone, and so, and also a large part of the manufacturing base is gone too. We're not going to do that. What this is focusing on is not the competency-based skills, which is corporate required. I'm going to say corporate requirement. And we're focusing on the vertical things. Who am I as a person? How do I see the world? And this is the end goal for this type of approach approach, is to develop complex thinkers. Because it's not so much I need to know how to do a job, it's how do I navigate this weird, obscure thing where things happen, and you know, can I think and manage this business, this issue that's going on. And I feel like to do that, effectively, it cannot be a corporate requirement. Like if HR comes to you and says, become a complex thinker, you're gonna put in the work just so that we're all employees, they're gonna put in the work, they're gonna check off the thing, and they're gonna do enough work so that their review, they'll be in the best position to get a raise during the review. But did they really develop? And this is why it has to be an employee benefit. Something that they can choose not to use, too, like a gym membership. Because it has to be, like, to grow as a complex thinker, it has to be an internally driven thing. You can't force someone to improve, or it'll be fake.
You can't force somebody, but like Virginia Beach, I'm retired from Virginia Beach Police, and every 6 months or so, they take a group of people and put them in a classroom and teach them a lot of the stuff like what you're talking about, how to improve quality, what their services were and what they needed to do to improve their relationship with the city and people and everybody all the way around them. It was a mental training process, and they basically did the same thing as what you were talking about.
But you brought up something pretty cool. So that $50 billion thing, leadership development, it breaks down like this. 68% of all companies spend less than $4,000 per employee per year to develop them as a leader. And this percentage, yeah, you can't really see the lines, but anyway. But we're really going after this. Companies that spend $4,000 to over $10,000 per employee to develop them as leaders. That's who we're going for. And of that group, the main ways that companies currently have developed their employees is through instructor-led class training, which is what you're talking about, which is scalable, right? Like, I'm a person, I can talk to a lot of people, right? Managers like that. Coaching is actually number 2. And then e-learning. Then you have seminars and just real project work as a thing, on-the-job training. And so what we're doing, like you can see already, these are outsourced things. Maybe e-learning, maybe they have an internal thing, but it's really like, how do you turn a rivet? But we're taking what is already being used, making it more efficient, making it scalable, and bringing down the price. And also the value proposition that goes with it. Yes?
Okay, so to put this together and kind of understand, see if I get this. I'm a big company, and if I want to offer your services as one of my French benefits, it'd be similar to having a gym membership. So do I automatically pay $200 an employee, or do I wait until one of my employees says, I really want to be a better manager and a better person, so I'm going to sign up for that? So the people who sign up, is that when I pay for it, or how does it work?
That's a great point. I think that would be up to what the company's strategic objective would be. And we would team with the HR. We would say, hey, what are the things that you want to work on with your company? What's things?
So you're still working on the whole package of how you're going to package this?
We are currently validating assumptions right now.
Well, see what the gym people do. I don't know, how do they charge?
I think you would have to charge individually.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get anybody, the Dollar Tree has
Just
what,
sign every single
20,000
person.
employees?
Yeah.
They're not gonna, and look, part of the management thing is, the bottom 80% of your company, they're never gonna do it.
Exactly.
They don't want to do any more than work the cash register at Starbucks or whatever their job
They're
is. You're
just
not,
getting by.
But you could also use that data. This would be like a side.
but that's
to our
expensive
question.
data for these people not to use it.
So Scott, why don't you describe the types of companies that you're pursuing?
Okay.
Because that might answer part of the question too.
So we broke it down into achievers, which are the big companies that can be represented in this. These are people that are already using these type of services.
Have you looked at these companies like Apple? What are they telling their employees? Have you looked at their policy?
No, because I bet that this is like an internal thing. But you can go on to Everwise and BetterUp and see their value propositions. They actually have some really unique data on the areas that they focus on, the level of managers that they have. But these companies already are using this, maybe in one division, but they're still trying it out. But these are just large companies with a different set of value propositions, and the channel to communicate would be different. Then we have the growers. These people have not, as far as I can tell, used this service. But what it is companies that have grown 100% within the past 5 years. And the reason for that is because managers are progressing very rapidly in the company, and they're probably not prepared to handle the struggles of management. And so we can mentor them, come alongside, and help them develop as leaders. Yes?
How are you signing up companies? What's your sales model? You know, how are you getting companies to come on board? Are you going out knocking on doors one at a time?
Yes, so what I feel like should happen, because I can't do that, and through the validation process, we're going to refine the value proposition. But traditional communication, awareness, of course, website, public speaking, networking, press releases, advertisement, and personal recommendations. Also, I would really like if we get backed by a venture capital company of some kind, we would want to choose one that had the right network as well, and the right people on the board for experience. And that, and I say that because this market is already growing, and I think if we wait a year to even get started, the opportunity is going to pass up, or we're going to lose a big share, because there are already little companies like this popping up and staying in business. The last one are the nerds. These are representative companies. I picked ones that are like local, just as representative. But I call them the nerds because they are specialized people who probably, like a physician, doesn't really care about being the top physician. They've already reached a level of professionalism that they're comfortable with. But the overall company is concerned with those professionals getting a new perspective and thinking differently. And so that it probably is one of those smaller markets that I think is going to work. I think growers and achievers is very much more likely, but that's how I define the business model, the thing. Yes?
You said that you have 5 already programs.
Yes, I have 5 courses already.
5 courses. What are the subjects of those courses?
Leadership 101, Goals, Vision, and Values. And then there's one called, those were done for 2 Chick-fil-A's. And I thought that was pretty cool because that's a high turnover, young thing, and that'd be a great thing to test it with. And it was really good. And then a management company, an asset management company in Dallas wanted it as well, and they wanted a coach that they use. So we filmed and created this course, and that one's called Leadership Development, I think, or Becoming a Leader. It's like a bland name, and one that's PQ360, which is a tool that he uses. Even though there's 5 courses, each one is very well done. Handouts, tests, quizzes, and I think they're amazing, honestly. Very well done.
One recommendation I'll give is basically, YouTube has everything and anything you need. And maybe you should have little clips of not key things, but some general things that actually raises thoughts with the managers. You should put little clips on YouTube and describe how this will be useful for a company. Because 90% of the time, you do a Google search and then there's a video and you go, and then you can probably pass your vision a lot better on a video with some section of your course. And if they see use out of that one, they might be able to.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Get to.
Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah. Cool. Yes.
How important is it for your coaches to have industry knowledge?
Specific industry knowledge?
Yeah. The knowledge of the industry of the company for which they are doing the coaching, or is it strictly an interpersonal thing, or is it important for the coach to understand the industry and how it works?
I think it would help, but I don't think the way that I see it going is it would be a mixture of certified coaches that understand a coaching process at least and how to communicate, and then mentors from other industries that are non-competing. I feel like right now, companies that would feel more comfortable if they knew that their employees weren't, that knowledge capital wasn't being leaked. And if it was being talked about, it wouldn't be, it would be like, I'm in construction and I'm talking to an advertising executive, but even those different industries, they can still talk about the pressures of managing life, how to grow, how to do that. But also, we would have like a customer relationship manager which would facilitate the relationship and make sure that they're getting along and the communication's going very well.
Yeah, you mentioned that Everwise has industry experts on their coaching staff.
Yes.
Is that a help or a hindrance because they understand the competitive forces in the industry?
They do have experts, but they do what I'm saying. It's from non-competing industries.
From non-competing industries?
Yeah.
Oh, so they don't understand the industry for which they are coaching?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They understand other industries that are not related to the company that they're coaching for?
Yeah, this is.
That makes no sense to me.
They're not teaching them how to make widgets. I mean, the company's supposed to teach them that. They're teaching them how to be a better leader, how to be a better person.
Number one, you have a great presentation. You really were sharp. And I love all this extra information that you have, so kudos to that. I feel like you have a great product that just needs to, get out in front of the right people. And I think sometimes in this mindset, we're thinking about small businesses. I would love for you to be able to find out how other types of companies sell the gym memberships to big companies. How do they do it? I would take that on to try to figure out how do they manage that and price it out and that type of thing, because I think that would help you. But my last question is, what can 1 million cups do for you?
Well, like I said, seeking funding. So if anybody knows anyone that has investment capital, need around 20,000 right now to get us to the next point where we're going to accumulate some money. We're set to accumulate money, but there's a gap. So right now it's access to funding, introductions to venture capitalist firms, maybe not here or somewhere else. But that's really
what is that 20,000 going to do? Like,
well,
you can't hire anybody
No.
for that.
No, it'll pretty much keep me alive and pay for incorporation costs. I have legal things that I need to figure out, such as terms of use, service agreements, contracts, 1099s. I mean, there's several legal things that I would like to have handled. But also, with that extra money, I have some developers that can do some work that I cannot do on this minimal viable product. And also I need some sales materials too to go out. So the time would be spent, the money would be spent building this business and getting it ready for investors.
And how are you going to hire coaches? What is your plan for that? And how many coaches, so because how many employees would be per coach, or what they can manage, so that how many coaches you're going to need per amount of people that are signing up?
Yeah, the best way I can answer that is I've cut my teeth on contracting and military contracting. Whenever that happens, they source subject matter experts, and so it really is a matter of advertising a job, like on Craigslist or LinkedIn, and interviewing. So that's how I think we do it.
But take this cup of coffee.
Oh.
Have another 1 million cups
Thank
while
you.
you're planning your business and getting together. So
I'm so sorry, guys.
congratulations.
I really have to go. I
Thank
have
you.
this thing at 10. I wish I could stay and hang out. I do my cards right there. If you want to email me any further, have any other comments, I'd love to talk to you. But I do have to go. But thank you so much.